All right, how to become a shredded sickvnt 101.
Yeah, fucking A, bro.
Basically just how to lose weight, how to look like this guy, Jeff Side, Ziz. This guy's looking pretty cool too. How to get shredded, get lean, keep muscle mass in your frame, not be a skinny little bitch. Obviously, this is the direct result. Oh, no, okay, but here is a real result of what we're talking about here. This is me in January of 2025. Pretty high body fat, definitely less muscle in my frame, wasn't very consistent with my eating, the gym, everything. And this is me in January 2026. I've lost a pretty good amount of fat. I would say I've lost 25 pounds since this first picture on the left here. I was 215 here, and I'm like 190 here. And I've also gained some muscle, I would say. So, pretty good transformation, I would say, for a natural lifter that's been lifting for a while now. Yeah. So first step to any of this is knowing your maintenance calories, knowing where you sit, right? So we need to find the calories where our weight is going to stay identical over a period of time. So a great tool for this is ChatGPT, TDEE calculators. We're going to want to enter our stats, so meaning your body weight, your age, your gender, all that kind of stuff. Your activity level is super important here too. This is why I kind of like to use ChatGPT for this personally. It's because instead of just saying, oh, my activity is very high, I don't really know what that means. Everyone has a different definition of that. So in ChatGPT, what I would put in is, all the stuff I talked about. And for activity, I would put in 12K steps daily. I hit that every day. And I get 1.5 to 2 hour bodybuilding, strength training style sessions in the gym per week. I write that in there too. I do 5 cardio sessions weekly of 12 incline, 2.5 speed treadmill for 25 minutes, 5 times weekly. Put that in there too. It's going to spit out a number. It's not going to be exact. And what you want to do is you want to eat that number of calories for 2 to 3 weeks and kind of see what your weight does. You're going to reassess your weight after that time period, and if it's going up and you're looking like this guy over here, then you're going to want to drop your calories back down. Drop them by 100, 200, if you're at 3,200, go down to 3K, see how that feels. Same thing. 2 to 3 weeks, reassess your weight. If your weight's steady, you found your maintenance. If it didn't, readjust again. Maybe that means you're losing weight, so you need to eat more. Same thing, small adjustments, 100, maybe 200 calories. We do not want to throw in a bunch of food and just make it harder to figure this out, because really, if we're trying to get lean, we want to get out of this maintenance period as fast as possible. We just want to find the number and go from there. So once we have that, we're going to go into a calorie deficit. I feel like this term has been thrown out there a lot. I feel like a lot of people have probably heard about this by now, hopefully. This is where you eat less food than your body burns in a day. So no matter what, I do not care if you're fucking 500 pounds, if you're 100 pounds, it does not matter who you are, this works. Okay, so this is proven. You can't break the laws of thermodynamics. You're going to lose weight if you're in a deficit. So I would recommend 250 to 500. I think 500 is a good place to start for most people, depending on your appetite. So say your maintenance is 2,500, eat 2,000, maybe 2,250, and you're going to start seeing some weight loss. This is slow and steady. We do not need to see anything crazy, because 3,500 calories is a pound of fat, so 500 calorie deficit would put you at losing roughly a pound a week. Obviously, there's some fluctuation there with water weight and all that, but roughly a pound a week. So pretty good amount of weight. But the key is keeping a good macronutrient profile. So we're talking about carbs, fat, protein, right? So to start, the big one, the huge buzzword right now, protein everything, right? We're going to want 0.8 to a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Really, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's not that much. Why not like 2 grams? Because after a gram of protein per pound of body weight, there really is diminishing returns. You're not really getting it. You're going to be more satiated. Maybe you'll be more full, but you're wasting the calories that you have that you could be using for stuff like carbohydrates for your lifts, right? So we're going to want to eat protein, muscle protein synthesis, all that great stuff. Then, super important, fats. Fats are really good for hormones. I did not know this for a while, and I low-key was fucking myself when I was trying to get really lean, really fast. You need to eat 0.3 to 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight. And this is key because If you do not do this, your hormones are going to get fucked. Doesn't matter if you're a girl, guy, whatever. That's not good. You do not want to do that. You want to be eating enough fat, right? So then, for my personal favorite, what really should be everyone's favorite, once you got your fat and your protein, you want to stuff your fucking face with carbs. We're talking, Rice Krispies if you want. These banana nut caramel pancakes, fire. My favorite, the rice cakes with the peanut butter and some honey. You're going to want to be eating a fuck ton of carbs. Not just before your workouts, which is what everyone thinks, but we'll get to that. You're going to want to eat a lot of carbs. So we're talking fast digesting carbs. We're talking complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, and then fast digesting like a Rice Krispie, right? You're going to want to be eating all that with all your meals. You're going to want to be keeping carbs as high as possible, especially when in a deficit. So, pre-training nutrition. This is a hot topic right now, and this is a game changer, especially when you're in a deficit. You're going to want to take 30 minutes to an hour before your lift and have 50, wow, that was a bad 5, to 100 grams of simple digesting carbs before your lift, right? So say, the longer you are away from your workout, the more complex the carbs can be. Like if you're an hour and a half out from your lift, you can have a full fucking meal at that point. You don't really need to be as scientific about it. But for me, what I like to do, 30 to 45 minutes for my lift, I will have anywhere from 50 to 100 grams of simple digesting carbs, keeping the fat and the protein as low as possible in this meal to give yourself the best possible energy going into that session. Because what we now know is that muscle is not gained from micro tears or all that bullshit. It's gained from mechanical tension, right? We're putting tension on the muscle. And in order to drive more mechanical tension, be able to produce more force, and have better workouts, you need to be fucking energized. Your glycogen storages need to be full. And how do we do that? We eat a lot of fucking carbs, right? Especially right before the lift. Super important. Once we got all that down, we need to do cardio. It's not fun. I fucking hate it. It's my least favorite part about losing weight, but it is important. So, we're going to want to do low intensity cardio. So obviously, yes, you can go on a run. Yeah, you can do your whatever the fuck. You can run 10 miles full speed if you want to. Great. But that's super high intensity. That's going to fatigue the shit out of you. Your CNS is going to be shot. You are not going to be able to put your full effort into your lifts, which is how you're going to gain muscle, right? So if we're trying to be a shredded sick hunt, this is all about being lean and having a lot of muscle on us, right? This is not a very runner type build. This is a bodybuilder-esque build, obviously. That's what we're going for. That's what I'm going for. I know that's a lot of people probably watching this are going for. So, low intensity cardio. We want to keep the muscle on our frame. Great example of this, low speed treadmill, low speed biking, low speed Stairmaster, anything that's not super intense for your body. My personal favorite, walking. Go outside. Look at this beautiful picture I took in Madrone Canyon, not that far from where I live. Awesome. Go get some fucking steps in. Walk around. TDEE maxing, total daily expenditure maxing. You've probably heard about this if you're in the science-based lifting stuff. Walk as many steps as you can. If you have the time and the energy to walk 30K steps a day, do it. If you have the time, you can eat so much more food. This whole process is going to be 10 times better if you do that and if you move your body instead of just being sedentary and starving yourself on barely any food. This way you're going to be able to eat more food, get some sunshine, you're just going to feel way better. Your cortisol levels are going to be all the way low. You get as much muscle as possible, right? And lose fat at the same time. It's awesome. There's so many benefits to walking and doing this TDE maxing bullshit, right? Anyways, next most important thing with cardio, in my opinion, is consistency. I have done this before where I'll not do cardio for 2 weeks and then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go do 3 hours of cardio in one day. What the fuck? That's not fun. For one, it's not fun. 2, that's a lot of CNS fatigue like we were talking about. 3, just what are we doing, right? Why do 3 hours in one day when you could split it up over 2 weeks, a week, and do 25 minutes, 15 minutes, right? Just small amounts of cardio, and it builds up. It compounds over time. That is the important thing, is consistency. So choose an amount that you can stick to. If that's an hour, if you can do an hour of fucking Stairmaster every day, awesome, do it. I know I can't. So for me, lower amount over a consistent period of time is way easier. Now for the fun part, the training. So the absolute key with this is keeping your fucking intensity high. You should not be losing strength on a cut. Choose some exercises that you like, right? It doesn't need to be the most stable scientific bullshit, whatever. You don't need to do that. Choose the exercises you like, track them, get good at them, keep your form standardized, the same every single set, right? And every session, come in there trying to progress. Now, that does not mean force more weight on the bar or force more reps. You're not going to progress every session, especially if you've been lifting for a while and if you're in a deficit. That is not realistic. But our overarching trend of strength should be moving upward. We should be shooting through the fucking roof, turning into this guy, hypertrophying, obviously, 8 to 15 reps to tone the fucking muscle, just like this big dog. I know we've all seen this before, but that's another thing. Rep range. Personally, I think 6 to 8 is great. If you feel like you're going to get injured with that, 10 to 12 is fine too. Really, the most important part is the intensity and the progressive overload, obviously, right? That's the most important part. Everything else is kind of overshadowed. Obviously, yeah, split matters. Yeah, your rep range matters. Whatever, that all matters, but it is not as important as your intensity and progression, consistency. Obviously, the standardization, like we talked about. You want to be coming into the gym and fucking killing yourself, like Ronnie Coleman. Train as hard as you can, within reason, obviously. This is a lovely picture of me after hitting an 800-pound leg press set. Literally had to sit here for like 2 minutes because I felt like I was going to fucking die. That's how you know you're training hard enough. This should not be easy. This is not a place to be a weak little bitch, for lack of better words. We need to push ourselves, especially when we're cutting. That's why we need to eat a lot of this type of shit before we lift, right? Keep our energy high so we can attack it like Rich Piana, that's really all it is. Like, it's not that hard, guys. It's really that simple to become a shredded fucking sickvnt. You just need to be consistent and control your variables. Obviously, for some people, that might be more unrealistic, but I promise you it is not that hard. Once you get all this stuff down and you apply it, that's the key, you will completely transform your body and you will look so much different, even just given 3 months, 6 months, whatever time frame it is. You will look different. Even if you've been going to the gym for a while, I promise you, tracking your variables, getting all this shit down is a game changer. If coming from someone that has been less consistent throughout my lifting and not been blah blah blah, not keeping track of all this stuff, if you really want to maximize your gains, it is worth it to keep all this down. And that all starts with getting lean and then building up from there, right? Like, there's no reason to be in a 1,000 deficit or 1,000 surplus and eat everything in sight. You're not gonna get any bigger than the guy that gets shredded, gets lean, and goes in a maintenance phase, 100-calorie surplus phase, and just slowly gains. That's why we need to get lean first. That's a whole other topic, though. Obviously, the bulking, the gaining, whatever. That can be another video. But I've never done this before, so I wanted to give it a try, explaining my some of my philosophy behind how I've been approaching the gym recently. Some people might not give a fuck, but I wanted to share, because I'm pretty proud of myself. I feel like this is pretty wild that I was able to do this, because like, what the fuck are we looking like over here? I hold myself to a higher standard than that. So yeah, as cringy as this sounds, if there's any ideas of like training or more in-depth dieting or anything gym related or supplementation, whatever it is, sleeping even, got some tips on that one too. Comments down below, and I would love to make another informational, funny, weird style video like this, because for me this is totally fun. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I hope we all get fucking jacked in 2026 and we can all and be sick just like these guys. All right, that's it.